But, since the 70s, the people in that area have not been able to rest because they've had the gloom and doom of, okay, any minute they're going to come knocking on the door, okay, well, we're starting dam
Yeah.
construction. And
I mean, like, how would their values of the real estate appreciate? They would never appreciate under that. Their values of their homes are basically have got to be worthless because they have this looming threat over their heads.
yes. And, there'll be a lot of towns if
How do
they
you plan
it.
development of the town? How do you plan development of the schools, the roads, infrastructure investment when this looming threat exists?
Or just life in general. Like, there's a big issue when it comes to when these land grabs happen. So one of the companies that deal with $5,000 to $10,000 an acre, what was at fair market value at that time. So a couple of years after the dam was built and the lake was filled up, her property was considered lakefront property, 20 to 30 acres, and it was subdivided into multiple lots.
Yeah, and they knew that. They knew that going in. There's someone there who has a bid on that. They know that. Who was able to sell that land for that amount of money? What county official's family member? That's the question.
And it's a company that's doing it. It's a company that's back that does it, and they sold it for, I think she said, several hundred. What it ended up being, as it got parsed out, it was like 200,000 to 300,000 per acre. And now with the Marvin's Nickel Reservoir, there's a survey company that has to sign off on the environmental and how it all works. Now that company is also friends and good relationships with the company who has the real estate. Now here's the other kicker with it. The Marvin's Nickel Reservoir is getting its name, Marvin's Nickel, based off of the surveying company's engineer who had passed away. So let me ask you this. Is it fair for Texans if a company who's being contracted to go and do a land survey and for environmental to make sure it's going to be great for the people, that now one of their former engineers, their lake and reservoir is going to get pushed out?
Yeah, what they're doing is they build a project and then they pretend like it's a monument to the great Texans of the planet. And this guy Marvin Nichols is one of them. It's making all these assumptions so that the later generations of Texans walk around talking about this man Marvin Nichols as if he's somebody considerable, in the history of the state of Texas. It's propaganda.
Well,
I went and testified.
Real quick, I got to ask a question.
Okay.
Where is Marvin's Nichols? Where's this project at?
It is north of Mount Pleasant, north of I-30 primarily, between Oklahoma state line and down, sort of Paris towards Texarkana.
Got you. Up north of Dallas.
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. I interrupted you. Keep talking.
But, I went and testified at Regency and Austin before the Natural Resource Committee of the House. The problem that I have coming from the Railroad Commission side, there's roughly 400 wells in that flood zone that they've got mapped out that were plugged in the 40s, 50s. Back then, sometimes, you just walk through. If it's not, if it don't have pressure on it, walk through, stick a rag down in the pipe and call it plugged. And, those wells, some of them are currently leaking. We're going to go out and survey some of the wells that they're aware of and see, how we can maybe help fix some of those. But, if you put that much pressure from, a 67,000 acre plate, that much water pressure on it, it's going to push the plugs out. It'll, create an environmental disaster. And, you'll end up with water contaminated with oil and
Toxic water.
gas. Yes.
So then you have the largest reservoir in America that's full of toxic sludge water.
Yes.
Okay, I got a question. Is there a need for this?
Water. But, if the data centers dug a little, I call them reserve pits, 40 by 40 by 10 foot deep pit, and dig 3 of them, that's 300,000 gallons of water storage. Then after you dig, after you have the 300,000 gallons, you recycle that water through and you end up with you know, geothermal, cooling the water and putting it back in the pit. And, you know, then, you're reducing the draw on the
Yeah,
grid.
but isn't there an issue with if you use spent water, that water is dirty. Is it gonna gum up the works?
You know, when it rains, we would give additional water added back in, or we could, truck water in, use pipelines, whatever the case is, to get it there.
But you're saying even in spite of the fact that we wanna build 300 data centers in the state of Texas,